Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for MacBreak Weekly is provided by Cachefly at cachefly.com.
This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 227 for Christmas Week 2010, our best of. MacBreak Weekly is brought to you by Audible.com. To download the free audiobook of your choice, go to audible.com/MacBreak. And by Carbonite. Backing up the files on your Mac or PC is safe and easy with Carbonite. For a free trial plus 2 free months with purchase, go to Carbonite.com. Offer code MacBreak. And by Ford and voice-activated sync, featuring true hands-free calling, turn-by-turn directions, 911 assist, and more. Available exclusively on Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury vehicles.
Happy holidays! How are you all? We decided we didn't want to work this week. So you know what that means. You get the best of MacBreak Weekly. Hey, it's not new if it's new to you. No, wait a minute, that's the wrong. It's new. If you haven't seen it, it's still a rerun no matter what. But some great moments, the moments you voted for, the best of MacBreak Weekly from the year 2010. Now, I have to say, what was the big story in the Apple world for 2010? That was the iPhone 4 and, most importantly, the iPad, which was announced early in the year. And, in fact, in this first clip, the iPad hasn't come out yet. And we really wonder if that KG Andy Yanako doesn't already have one. Let's see. Today, there is nothing but the iPad. Nothing but the iPad going on. Starting from my left, Mr. Alex Lindsay is here from the Pixel Corps.
I don't have an iPad yet. I just want to point that out.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to narrow it down. So Alex does not. Also joining us today from from Liverpool, England. He's so excited about the World Cup coming up. I'm stereotyping. Mr. Don McAllister.
Hi, Leo. Hi, good to see you.
It's good to see you from Screencasts Online.
That's the one.
That's the one.
Yeah, and I haven't got an iPad either.
And you don't have an iPad, so I don't.
I haven't even got a cardboard cutout iPad.
I don't have an iPad, so there's only one person who could possibly have an iPad in the bunch.
What a good dog.
Andy Yanako seems to be making out with a Dalmatian with a tag on its ear.
I'm going to get you a biscuit. You're such a good dog.
He's very patient.
The bestest dog ever, Buster.
He's
You're always
ignoring
there
us.
for me.
He's too good for us now because he has an iPad and we don't.
Yeah.
Huh? I
Huh?
don't know. What's that, Buster? That's right. I love you because you don't ask stupid questions. Who's getting a cookie? You're getting. Yes, you're getting a cookie. Go get the cookie.
Okay, there you have it. Andy Yanako's non-denial denial. Yes.
Okay.
Hi, good to see you, Andy, once again. From the Chicago Sun-Times and the celestial waste of bandwidth. Merlin Mann has the day off. He's on assignment.
Looking for an iPad.
Yeah, probably. Who do you think has an iPad? Do you think that David Pogue and Walt Mossberg and Ed Begg have Ed Begg have an iPad now?
Yes, not that I'm bitter.
They probably do, right? Andy, you're an actual journalist as opposed to those of us who play them on the radio.
Yes.
Do you think that Apple has seeded some of the premier press with an iPad so that they can get their review out?
Buster. I'm gonna have to. I'm sorry. He has trouble opening the jar himself. I'll be right back.
No. It's dear. Okay, I guess it's like.
I think no words need to be spoken on that.
I think it's like Skull and Bones. If you say the words, he has to get up and leave. It's in the Apple NDA. So I think he might happen to have one at this point.
Could happen. I saw the videos. Have you seen the videos?
No, there's videos online?
Yes, there's videos. Apple has posted the videos of kind of like their how to use it and how easy it is to use. It is.
I'm at the Apple site now. A magic and revolutionary magical.
Some training. If you
wow, that's an interesting selling point. It's magical. Expelliarmus.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing happens.
You wait until you have an iPad.
That's right. Good boy. Remember, there'll be more of these later on. Boy, good
So
boy, good
sad
boy.
when a good man goes crazy.
I'm sorry, Leo. Were you saying something?
Nothing at all. Just looking at the iPad on the Apple website. This is a new tagline. I don't remember this tagline. A magical and revolutionary product at an unbelievable price. So it's magical, revolutionary, and unbelievable.
So Apple's saying that we cannot believe any of the information they posted on their site?
Yeah, I really wouldn't use the word unbelievable in a slogan, would you?
Like when they say how well it'll work in these situations and how nice the interface is, we're not to believe any of that.
No.
There's been a disclaimer. They have legal cover now.
Unbelievable. Well, they say the price is unbelievable, but once you use the word unbelievable, I think it's safe to not believe anything. So now they've got these guided tours online. This is what you were talking about. So which one?
Oh my God! You can drink coffee while you're using it. Now I want one even more.
Look, there's a mug.
Look at Keynote. Look at Keynote.
Keynote. Okay, this is the one. Alex says he's actually going to do his presentations.
I'm going to test my presentations first.
NAB.
If they work, I'm going to do my presentations in NAB off my iPad.
So did you order the VGA dongle?
Keynote on iPad is the most powerful presentation application ever made for a mobile device.
Oh, come on. The superlatives are driving me
From the ground
nuts.
up just for iPad. It makes it easy to create incredible presentations with photos.
Incredible. Okay, so far we've got
and amazing
incredible
animations.
and
All with
amazing.
just the touch of a finger.
Look, I don't need him to say anything.
Just
I
tap
just watch
Keynote
the
to
video.
get started.
Okay, we'll turn his sound off.
Sometimes it seems as though these are being narrated by Jets fans. This is so awesome! It's unbelievable!
It shows you all of your presentations with a large preview.
Yeah, right. Do you think they did that?
Stuff.
They do like they did with the iPhone and get really big hand models to make it, or rather, you'd want a small hand model to make it look bigger, right?
Yeah, like, your hands are too big.
On the iPhone, they had big hands to make it look smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Just shows you how things have changed.
The other question I would have is that they don't really have to give this actor like a working thing. They could just give them a blue screen mock-up or a square and simply say, I want you to start your finger there and drag it down there. Then I want you to tap that and tap that there. I'm always curious about how these videos get produced, given the level of secrecy that Apple keeps this device under.
You know, it's one of those things that we do a lot of these, this kind of stuff.
This looks so clear and crisp.
It would be very painful. It would definitely be possible with the right budget to do any of this stuff, in post. But if I could, I would do everything I could to make it work live.
But how can they make it look that good?
You could do it. You could do it. The problem that you get into is what you're going to be afraid of is that it isn't the way I animate it. It's
not going to match his hands.
Well, the way I animate it won't be identical to the way it actually works, and then people will be like, rah, rah. So it's easier to get. This is really cool.
You got to think it's real.
So you want to resize it here, and then you tap that one, and it automatically sizes them
to the same.
size.
Oh, okay.
I was like, so there's a lot of little features in there that are better than Keynote, and this is I do a lot in Keynote, so I
It sounds like people should watch these videos because I mean, who would have discovered that?
Yeah, no, look at this.
Touch is a unique interface, and Apple's never done Touch before.
And
Except for on the iPhone and iPod Touch.
Right, but not on a desktop. And so to see Keynote with a touch interface really kind of shows what touch can do.
I was watching this today, and the thing that really amazed me, and I've seen the demos before, but it just looks so advanced compared to a Mac. Even though it's a simpler idea, using your fingers and just manipulating stuff with your fingers, it actually seems more advanced.
Yeah.
It's simpler, but more advanced. And I'm sort of wondering if people start using the iPad, whether or not, you would imagine that there'll be a halo effect and they'll go, they want to switch to the Mac. But
and
actually,
then they'll be disappointed.
To the Mac is actually, it could be a downward step. Because, they've got this...
do they have to do... So maybe a conspiracy theory here, the reason we haven't seen MacBook Pros is because they will be touchscreen and they're waiting until... Because if they made it touch, then they could put these features into... they'd have to have multi-touch on the screen, right?
I don't know. Apple doesn't do things in a halfway. I mean, they had so many opportunities to do a tablet Mac that was just simply, we're going to repackage a MacBook in a tablet in a touch interface.
They didn't do it.
And we're not going to do that. So... I don't know if they ever did it. I really think that it really does look like they have two different product lines going on here.
Conspiracy theory number 2. They have two product lines, and one is going to slowly eclipse the other, and it's not the one we want.
No, I think absolutely that the touchpad, the iPhone and the iPad is the future of Apple. I think that their desktop Mac. I think most of us will have a long time to get to play, continue to use our Mac Pros and our MacBook Pros and everything else. But I think there's maybe, maybe a 10-year cycle before we're more moving towards this. I think this is really the beginning of a new kind of computing, and I think it is the future.
Well, I mean, the video definitely makes it look like this works far better than any Android device I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I have no confidence really in their ability to get in Google's ability to translate this interface from something that is simply functional and practical to something that really, really works exceptionally well. I think this is the price of settling.
How about you, Don? You do screencasts online. You do a lot of Mac screencasts. I can imagine you looking at this saying, this would be a nice...
Can't wait.
Yeah, nice little feature.
Can't wait. I mean, there's a technical thing I need to get over as to how we actually capture the video.
Right.
I'm hoping I can do that with a hardware device so that I can actually capture the video coming out of the machine. But until we actually get one and we can understand, how that's going to work, if we can do that.
Because I don't know whether you're going to be able to see the interface. That's the thing that I'm not sure of. It appears.
Yeah, I ordered that VGA dongle. It's going to arrive Saturday when my iPad arrives. Believe me, first thing I'm doing is plugging it in to see what I can get.
I don't think you're going to see the interface. I think I think what's going to happen is that it's going to be applications can output a function. Every time we've seen them connect it to a TV, there's something different on the iPad than there is on the TV. So I don't think it's ever mirroring the TV. I mean,
so when you were looking closely at Steve's presentation, there was something else on that thing.
Every time he hit it, it's sending something different. Like when you watch the keynote one, what it does is it sends the presentation forward, but they're seeing something completely. You're seeing the controller on your.
Well, but that you can do with Keynote anyway, which is I don't know how you would do it on a.
I don't think it's mirroring. I don't think it'll mirror the interface because the iPhone doesn't mirror the interface. And
but the iPhone doesn't have video out. They don't have that dongle.
You should be able to do video out, I think, on it. Yeah, you can.
They sell a dock to VGA.
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, that's news to me.
But it doesn't do that. But it plays your videos.
The iPhone one isn't a VGA dock.
It's a little plug. It's a plug that goes in the top, which is going to have that's also available on the iPad. This is something different. This is a dock connector to VGA, and so the real question is, what are we going to see? Andy, you've got one. What do you think? Moving right along. I keep trying.
Let me put it this way. I'll explain something very, very carefully that I think that as soon as I say this, everybody will understand the correctness of this statement, knowing me very, very well. Two things. Number one, either I have one and I don't. If I didn't have one, especially like 4 days before the release, I really want people to think that I have one, because if they think I don't have one, that's not as fun as people thinking that I have one. It makes me look like a really big guy if I make people think that I have one. Number two, I make this pledge to everybody, everybody in this conversation, all these listeners and all these viewers, that I guarantee you that, the moment that I have an iPad, the moment that I'm free to talk about having an iPad, which may not be both true until April 3rd, I'm going to be such a total about it. If I had the ability to, like, anytime before the release date on Thursday, prove that I have an iPad and other people don't, you will see me. I'll make like an iPad cod piece and march down the middle of the street singing like a merry song of "I have when you don't, I have when you don't." I am that small and petty, not cod piece related, but I mean just in terms of ego. So
yeah.
It's fun to remember those naive, innocent days before the iPad came out. That was something. Actually, in just a moment, we're going to go to the iPad launch, which we had a lot of fun doing live from San Francisco. But before we do, and I do hope you're enjoying our best of episode, a little reminder to visit audible.com. Audible.com/MacBreak, to be exact, to get your free book. I find it hard to believe that there's anybody who watches MacBreak Weekly who hasn't yet joined Audible. You haven't? This is your chance. A free book waiting for you. There have been a lot of great books this year. I think the book I enjoyed the most, and I listened to it on Audible, was Jonathan Franzen's Freedom, a great novel, really the novel of the year. But there's so many other wonderful books in science fiction, history. I listened to a lot of history. I've been listening to, in fact, this might be my second favorite book of the year, Keith Richards' autobiography, My Life, which is I guess it's just life. It's incredible. Read by Johnny Depp for the first like third, and then all of a sudden some English guy comes on. I think his name is Joe Hurley, and he all of a sudden he's got an English accent. Sounds just like Keith too, I have to say. If you're into the Rolling Stones, or you just like hearing the story of how one of the great rock and roll bands of all time got their start, this is a wonderful book. Nice and long too, so you get your dollar's worth. Go to audible.com/MacBreak. Here's what happens: you sign up for the Gold account. That's a book a month. And the first book is free. You can cancel at any time and owe nothing. And that book is yours to keep forever. So the nice thing about Audible, you don't have to finish the book in a month. And this one, unless you've got a pretty hefty commute, it might take you more than a month. It's a long book, but a lot of fun. What I did actually is I downloaded some early Rolling Stones music. So I listen to the book, and then when he mentions a song, I go and I listen to the song, then I listen some more to the book. It's really fantastic. Audible.com/MacBreak. On your iPhone, your iPad, I'm listening to it with the great Audible application on Android. There's an Audible application for iPhone as well that's fantastic. Of course, on your computer and many other devices as well. You can even burn them to CDs. Audible.com/MacBreak. Your first book is waiting for you, and we thank Audible. A tip of the snow cap to Audible for supporting us all year long. It's been a great partnership, and we look forward to many years with Audible.com. Now, time for our next segment. The iPad came out in, was it April? Was it May? It was April. All I remember is going to the Moscone Center at San Francisco, seeing all the satellite trucks, all the reporters, all the people, and we had great seats right out front. Justine, and others stopped by too to join the fun. So let's take you now. Imagine, if you will, early this year, the launch of what nobody knew if this was going to be big or not. Nobody had tried it yet. The launch, the first announcement, we didn't even know if it was going to be an iPad. We just thought it would be, of Apple's iPad. Let's watch. This is MacBreak Weekly, episode 177. We're live from in front of the Yerba Buena Center for the Arts, where just a few minutes ago, Steve Jobs took the stage and announced a brand new category, really. Not just a new device, but a new category, the iPad. And we're going to do a special MacBreak Weekly today. Back at the studio, say hello. It's Alex Lindsay. Hi, Alex.
Hello. How's it going?
And Alex is running the board, so any mistakes, it's Alex's fault.
That was a preemptive strike. I see how it is. Yeah.
Also with us, Dr. Kiki Kirsten Sanford. Hi, Kirsten.
Hello, Leo. It's nice to be here.
And of course, on Skype, Merlin Mann, an original MacBreak Weekly guy. Hey, Merlin.
How's it going, Leo?
It's great. You guys have been holding down the fort while we were all in the auditorium. I hope we were able to get a pretty good picture of that. I mean, it was kind of guerrilla style. But I have to say, Steve looked good. His voice was a little weak. He looked tired and thin, but he did a bang-up job selling what is obviously something that's very important to him, something he's been working on for quite some time.
It looked fantastic. I mean, it really has the fit and finish of a very mature device. You know, it didn't look like it was a version 1 the way we would see it come out from a lot of other applications or a lot of other companies. I mean, they obviously spent what looks like years making sure that it was just right before they pulled the trigger.
Well, and both Phil Schiller and Steve made the point, I think this was a very good point, that this is a device that people already knew how to use. They were building on the success of the iPhone and the iPod Touch. It's the same UI, it's just bigger.
Yeah, and more responsive. It sounded like from your report that you just have a lot more processing power, so you're getting a lot. It's just a lot faster too.
Yeah. Well, in fact, Justine is here. Justine Zarek. She didn't get into the event.
I didn't, but I did get in to touch the iPad, and it really is like a very large iPod Touch.
Still not hearing it. There's an experience holding it that doesn't get communicated from watching the stage presentation.
It's just, it feels. I mean, I don't even know, I'm like speechless because it was like amazing. You know, it's everything that you would want in a tablet, and it's so smooth. It's just, it really is an experience, which is something that Steve is all about.
Yeah, it's pretty clear that the refinement that Apple does so well is built into this thing, and not only in terms of the user interface, which we're very familiar with, but the fit and finish of the product itself. And you're right, you said an important word, speed.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and I mean it's.
How do you like the screen?
I like it. It's really bright. My biggest concern, though, is which one am I going to buy? Am I going to wait for the 3G or the Wi-Fi? But like we were talking before, you mentioned the MiFi, which if you have a MiFi or a Wi-Fi card, then there's no point in waiting for the 3G.
Just in case somehow you missed the details of the announcement, in 60 days, you'll be able to get the first versions of the iPad. By the way, iPad, were you surprised by that name?
A little bit. Like I was becoming so used to like the little tablet or maybe the iSlate. But, I don't think the name's really that important.
It's the obvious name. I thought, can we move on from I? But then they have an iBookstore, so we're never going to move on.
Yeah, never.
So the iPad will be available in 60 days only in the Wi-Fi version. There are 3 Wi-Fi versions. There's a 16 gigabyte for $499, which is a really relative. Well, $499 isn't really that cheap, but if you've been thinking $1,000 or even $800, it's cheap.
Then it's a great price.
Steve did that, by the way. He put a $999 up, said, this is what everybody's saying, under $1,000, and then he crashed it to the ground, and it was $499.
He really knows how to sell it. He really does.
Always start with a high price, and then the low price seems a lot lower. $499, $599 if you want 32 gigs and 64 gigs, a lot of storage.
Oh, and we lost him there for a second, so I'm sure we'll have them back here in just a second, and through the magic of technology, no one watching the taped version will know anything. They'll just be like, wow, that was so seamless. And
we used to always say that on MacBreak. We used to, as a joke, we talk about fixing it in post. But I think you're really going to need to fix this in post, Alex.
I'm not going to have to fix it.
I think you're going to fire up the old Final Cut on
this one's going to be a rough one.
It breaks your heart, but I think you're going to have to edit.
The iPad naming, I'm still not sure about it.
Well, I just hope they don't make a big one and call it a Maxi.
It's an unfortunate name.
Somebody forwarded a linked YouTube video from Mad TV. They did an iPad spoof back in 2007. That's kind of
okay.
funny.
And we're going to go back to Leo. Hold on one second.
What would you have named it, Merlin, if you don't like iPad? What's better than iPad?
Oh, I didn't know you could hear me. Gosh, I don't know. I like, I don't know. I gotta, again, I'm Gruber's internet boyfriend. I like iBook. I think iBook would have been a good name. I think iTablet is dumb. And I think iSlate sounds like it's made out of a rock and sounds heavy. iPad is fine. I'm sure I'll get used to it. It's strange that it's so close to iPod, which is something they're not focusing on as much. But maybe there's some kind of like little slip disc in your brain that hears that and is familiar. I don't know.
It just seems like the obvious, isn't it?
What do you think, Leo? Do you like it? Do you like iPad?
I was saying they're not going to use I at all. I had moved on from the notion of I anything.
I like the name.
Now, Dwight Silverman is also here. Dwight Silverman of the Houston Chronicle, blogs.cron.com/techblog.
In fact, I was calling it iPad several weeks ago before the name iSlate came up. I started using that in my blog and then shortly after I did, the stuff about iSlate came out, and I said, okay, I'm wrong. It's not iPad. So I was quite gratified. This is iPad. But that Mad TV video was quite funny.
It was really funny, yeah. You were gruntled coming out. You were not impressed.
Well, it's great technology. It is very cool technology. It's a very sleek product. In looking at it, I always try to think, okay, what will the mainstream think about it? We're kind of geeks and we're into this. But is the lady who is in Walmart, who's buying diapers and who kind of lives her life day to day, is this going to interest her at all in the long run?
Right.
And if you can have a $299 netbook and do a lot of the same things, which you can do a lot of the same things, is this going to call to her? And I don't know that it's necessarily a mainstream product. I think it will go to Apple's core audience. It'll go to the higher end, people willing to spend higher amounts. I was talking to Tim Baharan, the analyst, who said that he thinks that the $499 one will not be the top seller, that it'll be one of the higher end models.
It's always been that way. When they sold an 8 gigabyte iPhone, people really wanted the 16 gigabyte.
Well, and what people want on the iMac is the 27
inch.
iMac.
Yeah,
that's Apple's customer.
Apple's smart. They created the low price point. Obviously, that gets the attention. People are going to buy the middle one. Right. Do you need all that storage, though? I mean, a 16 gigabyte iPhone is a pretty big iPhone, isn't it?
I haven't even filled my iPhone up, and I shoot video all the time. So,
I can't fit all of my music on a 16 gig iPod. So
I don't think you put your music on this device, though. Do you? What do you think, Alex?
Well, I'll me. I'll buy the the biggest one. But 64 gigs. I have a 32 gig. I think a 32 gig iPhone. But my iPhone's full. I'm constantly, it's I have to throw stuff away, turn things on and off to get it all, because I have a lot of shows. I travel a lot, so I have a lot of shows, and I don't have all my music on it. On my iPhone, my Zune is actually what I keep all my music on, and so my iPhone just has a couple playlists that I like. But I think that, and I also think, I don't think that this is aimed at the Walmart audience, at least right now. But what I do think it does is that I think it makes it very hard if you have another tablet that's $399, or $299. I mean, I think that we were just talking about that when you guys were restarting. Is that it's a very difficult market to stay in. When you don't have any room to move.
Right. I'm going to let Justine go because
I don't have headphones, so I have no idea what anyone's saying.
Well, and not only that, I know you want to go play with it.
I do. It was amazing, and I'm really excited for it to come out. I really can't wait.
Get my badge from Roger over there. He's got the press.
Okay.
You could just say you're me.
All right. Sounds good. I look like Leo. We're twins.
Thank you. Justine is Eric. iJustine.com.
Bye, guys.
Good. Andy Ihnatko, your pick of the week, my friend.
I'm standing carefully out of the way because I think some of you are going to guess what my pick of the week is. Let's see how well this works. Hang on.
Oh, my God. What's going on?
Oh, no way.
We got this special super-duper helicopter hover drone.
Yep. Hang on. Up.
It's going to shoot at us. Whoa. He's dead. Oh, the humanity. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Are you okay, Andy?
Okay, the good news is it's very durable.
It's not supposed to happen.
Well, it's you see, what you're supposed to do is...
And he doesn't, by the way, he doesn't have the special protective bumper ring on it either.
Oh, I played with this at CES. It is so awesome.
So cool.
We lost you.
We're not hearing you, but we're seeing it.
No, because I'm stepping. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Oh, you weren't on mic. Yeah.
Okay. Well, because I was trying to hold the...
I know. It's too many things.
It's really difficult to pilot it while watching yourself on, like, the remote screen over here. What you're supposed to be doing is actually looking at your iPhone screen. And hang on, I'm going to zoom in a little bit.
Hey, folks, if you didn't watch today's show on video, you really must go to twit.tv/MBW and get the video version of this.
Actually, I'm inadvertently showing off something kind of cool where a lot of this now. So, okay, let's backing up 1 second. It is a... yeah.
Okay, we now know he's not wearing shoes. So there's a camera on this hover.
So there's a camera on it. Here we go. Now this is going to be just like Avatar. It's a multi-camera setup.
Ooh.
There we go.
Ooh.
Okay. So there's a video camera on. There we go. There's a video camera on the helicopter. God, I have to hold the copter steady and the phone steady. Okay. I am not going to even look at either of these things. So you have a full control deck in front of you. And so you actually can steer and navigate by looking at the camera, not necessarily by trying to look around outside the camera, which is what I was trying to do.
Right.
But the cool thing is that if you do nothing, if you don't touch the controls at all, it uses its own logic to simply say, what do I have to do in order to hover in position where I am right now? So essentially, if I simply let it hover right now and let it chew up my arm because I've got because the blades are now exposed. It would simply sort of like bob a little bit, but it will pretty much stay where it is right now. But there are also two controls to the left and the right of the iPhone screen. One it's using one control just for elevation and rotation, and the other one is to control where it's moving, where it's leaning one way or another to move around. And it is pretty hard to damage. The fact that it's not impossible to damage is demonstrated by the fact that if you go to the website, there are lots of replacement parts available for this. But I've been playing with it for the past 3 or 4 days, and I haven't broken it yet. It is a hell of a lot of fun. Obviously, I'm not quite good enough with it yet that I can do that really cool thing where this thing hovers and does not stray, doesn't even stray 1 inch as it parks itself in front of the video camera. But you see like how sophisticated some of the controls are. What it's showing me right now is that it detects. It's told the iPhone, the helicopter told the iPhone that I've crashed into something, so I've turned myself off because clearly you don't know what you're doing at this point in time. So now I have to actually hit a reset switch in order to get it going again. I'm now going to turn it on again to see how well I can do. I'm going to leave the room.
They've really perfected this a lot since we saw it at CES, haven't they?
It works really great.
It's become a real consumer product.
Okay, so I'm going to step away from the mic. Let me see if I can get it to like go right in front of the camera.
And now Andy is stepping away from the mic to see if he can chop his camera in half.
Well, also realize that like there's a camera, there are 3 sets of lights, there's a microphone. You're going to see some crashing. Hang on.
This is the Parrot, right?
This is the Parrot AR. If you want to Google for the thing, here we go.
Okay, I just want to make sure that this is the same one we saw.
It's got Prime shipping.
Okay, I'm now stepping into the safety cage. So the safety shrouds are now off, by the way.
You're supposed to put that special bumper on it so it doesn't chop your head off. Here he goes. He's now using the iPhone.
It's alive.
See, I was going to recommend... Oh, look at that. Oh, that's so cool. I was going to recommend Chopper 2 for the iPhone, which is just a virtual one of these. So now he's really kind of...
John boy.
Now he's taking the asbestos off the ceiling, and now he's about... Whoa!
Okay, I haven't been really instrumented on this thing yet.
That was the mic.
As you see, it's fun for you and the whole family.
Yeah, how much is it?
It's like $250, so it's definitely something that in most households you're going to get your 4 kids together and saying, how many of you would like to pool together your birthday presents to make this happen?
It's interesting, they call it the flying video game. I guess it is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are a bunch of, it's kind of like what you saw in the demo when you saw the YouTube video earlier at CES,
right,
where there are a bunch of, there are pads of stickers so that you can get it to sort of sense its environment. It works via a one-to-one Wi-Fi connection between... First, let's make sure that. Okay, good. I was about to like turn the camera facing you, but you're going to get a really good shot of my butt, maybe. And that probably was not going to be too good for the viewers back home. No. But yeah, I mean, you can get it. It's a one-to-one Wi-Fi connection between any iPod or iPod Touch and the helicopter. It's a little bit, I think it inherits a lot from RC helicopter community as opposed to the iPhone community, because setting up the software is not 100% there. It's a little bit, I had to debug a couple of things to get it to work, but it's easy to go through the instructions. Also, the only other thing I don't like about it is that the battery will last about 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Right now, there's a battery indicator on the phone itself, and it's telling me that the battery is now at 44%. I've been running it for maybe 6 or 7 minutes. So it's definitely not something where you're going to be walking the dog and, you know, having this thing bobbing behind you as you go. But it recharges pretty quickly. It also gives you enough time to wrestle your brothers and sisters on the living room sofa to figure out who gets to play with it next. It's a hell of a lot of fun.
Boy, it sure looks like it.
Exactly. It's like this was the productivity killer. Like the day I came back from Chicago and this was waiting for me on the doorstep, and I'm like, I better cancel that lunch meeting I have for tomorrow because I have a feeling I'm either going to be playing with this or repairing a lot of broken lamps.
The AR drone, a couple of $100. It's ardrone.parrot.com.
Right. And it's all foam. So again, I've crashed this thing many times, and it's still ticking just fine. So
it takes a licking and it keeps on chopping.
Exactly.
The AR drone. Boy, you know, I really should have let you go last, because anything I'm going to do now is a complete anticlimax to that. Apple stores on Black Friday sold 8.8 tablets per hour. Each store. Each store.
Wait, 8.8 per minute or per hour?
No. Each store.
Each store. Okay.
You can't sell eight tablets a minute in a store.
You can in the San Francisco store.
Yeah, you might be able to.
Place is packed.
Also, according to this is to Gene Munster, Piper Jaffray analyst. He said his teams watched Apple retailers for 7 hours and came away with this conclusion. This is an interesting statement, and you know these guys are looking for that soundbite. The iPad is the Mac of the masses. It's a good soundbite. Yeah. Don't know what it means.
No, that's something that I thought of a few months ago, because I realized that I
you did.
pictures. Oh yes. Okay. I got a picture in my iPhone roll that's dated because I was writing a piece about it. I think I was at the pizza place that I often set up shop at. First lesson to people who are in like food retail: if you open up a pizza place and the pizza is good and there's unlimited drink refills, don't add free Wi-Fi. Because you're going to lose tables. You know, there's going to be this guy
live there.
Right.
Exactly. I'll buy my 2 slices and then I'm there for 4 hours. Yeah. But anyway, so I was there and I had my iPad on the little Griffith stand. I had my Bluetooth keyboard. And I'm actually doing real work on it. I suddenly look at it and I realized that what does this resemble more than a 128K Mac with that little that form factor, the one disconnect
good point.
In front of it. The same size. I wound up downloading a picture of the original Mac 128 Hello promo pic and putting that on the screen and then just taking a picture because it just reminded me so much this is also when you think about the original goals of the Mac, there was supposed to be a computer that everybody could afford that would cost way less than $1,000. The priorities that Steve Jobs put on it were going to be that, okay, it's not going to matter that we can't expand it. It's not going to matter there's not a whole lot of apps for it because this is the sort of device we're trying to make. And so they've succeeded in making, for most people, throw in $100 for the keyboard and an easel. Now they've built a $600 to $1,000 computer that doesn't run every app out there, but doesn't have to. And once you buy it, that's pretty much all you're going to do with it. But it's making a lot of people like me really, really happy. That's the goal. 20 years later, 25 years later, they finally met it.
I actually said that. I'll take credit for that. I said that.
I said that Leo Laporte said that.
But I said, and I remember sitting in front of the Apple announcement of the iPad and said, "This is the computer Steve Jobs always wanted to make. This was if he could have made this instead of Mac 128, this is what he would have made because it's the computer for the masses. It's very easy. I actually would retract that today because while it is a great accessible computer." It isn't quite a replacement for a computer.
I think it depends on who they. I mean,
of course, it depends on who, but it's not a full replacement for a computer. Is my point.
No, I don't think so. But I do think I look at the way my.
So if they had made this instead of the Mac in 1984,
it would have changed computer.
It would have changed things, and I don't know if it would have changed things for the better.
No, it would have been. I think
this is an accessory.
Remember what the world was like in 1984. I mean, first of all, Reagan was president, so everything's going to stink. Second thing, though.
Jesus.
There we go. Hello.
See, I thought we get a little pep ball.
Send your letters to Indianaco.
From sea to shining sea. But yeah, I mean,
at least that
was a world in which you really your entire computing world was there on your desktop. If you did not have it there on your desk with you, you could not do it. Whereas the iPad can do what it does and do it so inexpensively because it can live off of getting things off the internet and having an app store that's elsewhere that you don't have to really find some guy who'll mail you a cassette tape in a padded envelope. So yeah, something like this would never work. Remember that when was the first time that you heard about Ellison or other people trying to develop network computers that these thin computers that do nothing but run apps that are hosted by a remote server? None of them were able to work, chiefly because, again, you needed to have everything there on the table with you.
Well, I am thinking about an iPad for my wife because she's due to replace her computer. She has a very old eMac, and I'm saying, you got to get a new computer. It's PowerPC. It's really out of date. And rather than get an iMac, I have considered, because all she does is browsing on the web and email. And if I get her an external Bluetooth keyboard so she can compose things, it really does almost everything she wants to do.
And my wife's parents, she was like, "Oh, we were going to get." She's thinking about getting an iPad, and then she wasn't sure if she wanted to get an iPad because she was looking at the way her parents use it. And she goes, "Well, they got files everywhere, and all they do is text documents and surf the web." And I was like, "That's the perfect person to have an iPad. It's going to keep your files from getting all messy because they're all going to go into one little place, and all you're doing is making files." And it's like
I thought that too with my wife because she doesn't know that there's a desktop. Remember, I told you I closed some of the apps. And she said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, that's your desktop." She said, "What are all those things?" I said, "Well, those are all the things you've saved onto the desktop." She said, "Oh." She doesn't want a file system.
Right.
She doesn't need a file system. Now, interestingly, I got her an iPad. No interest in the iPad. She's still using the 13-inch MacBook. So I guess I don't know. She likes a keyboard. I don't know. But there you go. It's interesting go ahead.
I had one thing that was interesting to me. This is the week earlier today that I packed up finally Apple's 11-inch MacBook Air, and it kind of maybe modifies some of the things I've been saying about the iPad a little bit. I know now that a lot of it was just the simple fact that it's a powerful computer that's really light and really thin. Because I did find that I was leaving the house without my iPad a lot more frequently over the past month than I had when I didn't have that nice tiny little 11-inch MacBook Air handy. Now, to be fair, there are more instances which I was leaving the house with both the MacBook Air and the iPad, because the iPad will always be my book reader and always be I'm on the train, I want to read something or do something while I'm in transit from someplace. But let's not discount I really had to make sure. It really was an illustration for me that a lot of it wasn't really the technology, it really wasn't the multi-touch. It was the simple fact that we finally have a computer that's this thin and this light that you can just take with you, that runs the Mac OS, whether you want it or not.
And I think it's interesting, though. I do think there's a before and after there. I mean, because I as a person who owns an iPad, I keep on looking at the Air, which is one of the few Apple products I haven't bought. And while I'm really excited about it, I have a 13-inch, so I already have something kind of small, and I have an iPad. I've got a couple of those, and I'm just kind of like, oh, do I really need another computer? That's small, like it's not hefty. That has like a 17-inch or something like that. So. I do think if you have an iPad, I think that they are very close. I think the 11-inch and the iPad are in this very close realm where you really. I think if I didn't have the iPad, I would definitely buy the 11-inch.
Yeah, well, a close friend of mine just got a MacBook Air, the new one, for his wife, who's a lawyer and uses her computer very heavily. And she had the old MacBook Air, and the new one with the SSD drive, he says, is night and day. That while it may not have that high of CPU power, he said your experience is just lightning fast.
It's because of the SSD. It's all you need. Yeah. It turns out that's not the CPU; it's the I/O that really makes a difference.
Right, and they love it. Mm-hmm. She just thinks it's fantastic.
Oh, I'm deeply, powerfully, and emotionally.
I'm trying not to touch Leo's very often. I don't want to open it. I don't really want to feel it. I don't want to know anything about it. Yeah, I don't want to taste it now. I was going to taste it. I was going to lick it, but now that Leo's licked it, it's like licking someone's candy bar. I mean, once it's been licked.
Why do you think I licked it? I'm going to do other things too. Then you'll never touch it. No. So I thought it was interesting that Munster and his minions actually just sat in Apple stores with little checkbooks. I'm surprised the Apple stores let them going. There goes another one. There goes another one. 7 hours. There goes another one. So 8.8 iPads an hour, 8.2 Macs in general an hour. Now, this is per store. How many Apple stores are there? 1,000? I don't know. How many? There are quite a few. That's a lot of Macs and a lot of iPads, a little bit more iPads. He says, despite comments that, quote, the 11-inch MacBook Air has been flying off the shelves, Mac sales were down compared to the same thing that he did last year. He said Apple retailers sold, I think this is well within the margin of error. Instead of 8.2 Macs an hour, 8.3 Macs.
Yeah, that's no way.
No, come on. What do you think this is? A science? Do not run to TJ Maxx to buy a 390. I like that double take I got from Alex.
I was like, TJ Maxx? How did this get into?
Do not run to TJ Maxx. They tweeted that they had iPads for $399,
and it turned out.
Well, they did. They apparently had 80 of them spread throughout their thousands of stores. And as far as we can tell, they just went out and bought them. They're not a reseller.
It was just to get a whole bunch of people.
Just to get, and you know what? It worked.
The technical term for that. It's called bait and switch.
Well, I'm sure they said something like, while supplies last, or.
All I need is one for that. Why bother with 80?
Yeah.
I guess you had to show that you had a good college try.
Yeah, 80. I know. That's true.
I mean, it's like, why just buy one? We got one. I guess you could say we have some.
Apparently, not many got them. Marshalls and TJ Maxx are the same store. An email from Steve Jobs when asked, could you match, according to 9 to 5 Mac, could you match the price that TJ Maxx offered? Why are you laughing?
I'm not entirely convinced that Apple considers TJ Maxx to be a competitor to Apple at the Apple Store. Maybe, what's the difference between we're not selling pants for $11? Maybe we should start selling $11.
I've never heard an Apple employee say we'll match that price.
Exactly. No, like those words don't.
Yeah, they're just like you should go over there and get it.
To be fair, when's the last time you saw a price differential of more than like $8?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
So this is
like, we're the people who are excited about how is Walmart being able to sell this phone for $8 less than everybody else in the entire world? Well,
by the way, a headline including TJ Maxx and iPad just really doesn't look right.
Oh,
Josh writing this. Yeah, see that didn't look good. Writing to sjobs@apple.com. Hey, Steve, if I walk into an Apple store and ask for you to match TJ Maxx's price, would you do it? Steve Jobs says, nope. Then he asks, is TJ Maxx even an authorized reseller? And nope. At least we know it's Steve because his response was nope. Do you think he has like an auto script? Nope.
And no, here's the thing is they're all different.
Nope.
Like, we never see one that's like,
yep.
I don't see we don't see very many that are like it doesn't look like someone cut and paste them out.
No, I think he's doing it.
I wonder if they're just a bunch of mini Steves.
No, I think he's doing it. Although if you were going to be
they spend like 6 months in training.
If you were going to be a PR person trying to impersonate Steve, you'd make sure you said things like nope,
yep,
nope. He's doing this. He's doing the Clint Eastwood.
He's like a laconic ranch hand.
Nope. Yeah, not gonna do it. According to AC Nielsen, this is the stupid story of the week, which conducted a survey in October to see which tech products American kids want through the beginning of next year. What do you think? 17 items on that list.
Number 1, a Camaro that shoots fire.
Yeah.
Number 2, a PlayStation 8.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah. So they talked to kids from the ages of 6 to 12. Number 1, an iPad. Actually, that is kind of maybe a surprise for the kids that age, an iPad. A computer and iPod Touch tying for second with 29% saying they wanted those. 31% said they wanted an iPad. Nintendo DS in the 4th place. That's got to scare Nintendo. 25% of kids. And this is their market for the DS. PlayStation 3, any non-iPhone smartphone, and a mobile phone all tied for 5th place. The Apple iPhone, a television, and as yet unreleased Nintendo 3DS rounding out the top 10, each with 20%. An e-reader, the least popular gift of the year, racking 17 out of 17 choices.
And that should scare Amazon.
Yeah.
I buy a lot of Kindle books for my iPad.
So this was a little constrained. I guess they gave him a list of devices and then said, "What do you want most?"
Well, I know that our babysitter, she was talking about it. She was asking what, if that's the iPad and everything else, because I guess her nephew wants to buy one,
right.
or he wants one for Christmas. And then when we told her how much it was, she was excited. But I know my the big thing I'm having trouble with is deciding how much my son's allowed to use his iPad, because it's really a.
He has his own?
Well, he has my old one because the 3G came out and I got.
You don't need to make up any excuses here.
No,
you're among friends, Alex.
It's my job.
We understand. You don't need to say that here.
My older son, I just bought him one. But anyway, so but I'm waiting for him to destroy it. He hasn't destroyed it yet. He dropped it last night. It hurts. But
you need. This is the case.
I do. I need to get that case. I looked at that case and I was like, "See, here it is. I already bought the stand while we were sitting there."
This is from Incipio. Well, you know what? Tell you what.
Incipio.
Let me just peel this right off of here and give it to you.
Oh,
thanks,
Leo.
It's good for a kid because it's lime green.
Can I put that one on? We'll test it like the like the Woogie.
So it's got the silicone rubber,
Kid
but
tested.
then it's got the. I like this. They do them for Incipio does them for iPhones too, kind of like a plastic hard shell.
No, it needs it because the only thing
that's where the corners
here's the
are,
only thing that I'd want though is that I need something to flap on the front.
It doesn't have a flap on the front.
I need the flap on the front.
Well,
I'll try it though.
I don't know if you need a flap on the front.
Well, the thing is that he stands on it.
You need more than a flap if he's going to stand on it.
I looked over. I was watching the Steeler game. I looked over, and he's standing on the iPad. I said, it's not going to work much longer if you keep on doing that.
Standing on it. I wonder what that was all about.
I don't know.
Dance Dance Revolution?
He's no, he's not. No, fortunately, he wasn't stomping on it. He was standing on it. And I don't know what.
It makes me just this much higher.
Yeah, I think he thought it was cool.
They asked 13-year-old kids what they wanted. Number one for 13 and up, a Mac or PC, a computer, then a television, then a smartphone, not an iPhone, then an iPad, a Blu-ray player, an e-reader. E-reader bigger with the older kids. The Nintendo Wii ranked 7th among teens. That's not good. Only 15% wanted a Wii. That's probably because they all had one already.
Yeah, probably.
Then the iPhone, then the PlayStation 3 with 13%. The Sony PlayStation Portable, least desired among teenagers, number 17. Well, no, I didn't even know they still made that.
I think I have one around somewhere.
Big mug of Michigan. I'm going to have to, to be fair, next episode I'm going to have to do The Ohio State University or something. No? Ken says no. Ken bleeds blue and gold. So I hope you're enjoying this best of MacBreak Weekly to give us a week off and to give you some great memories from the year 2010. All through the year, our shows are brought to you by the good folks at Carbonite, Carbonite.com. It's online backup done right, Mac or PC. I mentioned when Abby went off to college this fall, the first thing I did is I set up her MacBook. I got her a 13-inch MacBook Pro, perfect college computer, although now that the Air's out, I might have considered an Air. But the first thing I did is I put Carbonite on there, and I didn't even bother to tell her because she doesn't need to know. Carbonite is always automatically backing up to the internet so that her data is there. And if anything should happen, if she should lose the laptop, these things happen in college, the hard drive should fail, or she should accidentally delete a file, I know I'll get that call and I'll say, hey, no problem, honey. Just go to the library, log into your Carbonite account, and there's all your data. It's been backing up all along. There's also an iPhone app and a BlackBerry app she can use too. Carbonite was invented by David Friend because his daughter was in college and called him and had lost her thesis. And he said, there's got to be a better way, and came up with really what is the ideal form of backup. Automatic, off-site, encrypted so it's private. Couldn't be easier to use and so affordable at $55 a year. That's less than 15 cents a day for unlimited backup, all your personal data on your internal hard drive. It's Carbonite.com, but don't take my word for it. I like you to try before you buy, and we've arranged for Carbonite to give you 15 days free. So if you go to Carbonite.com, use the offer code MacBreak, you could try before you buy, see how Carbonite works for you. And remember, if you do decide to buy it, make sure you use the word MacBreak as the offer code, and you'll get 2 months off the already low $55 a year. Carbonite.com. Offer code MacBreak. You got to back it up to get it back. I know you've been planning to. You've been meaning to. Do it right now. Carbonite.com. It's the best way to back up. Now, one of the things people really seem to like about MacBreak, in fact, it's gotten to the point now where we never get started for like the first hour before, because the pre-shows, just the conversation, the nuttiness that goes on before MacBreak, it's so much fun. And I think it's partly because we've all been working together for so long. We really love each other. We have a great time. And it really, we think of the pre-show as our chance to kind of shoot the breeze before we get down to work. So we've decided to put, since I know many of you feel the same way, we've decided to put together a montage of some of the best pre-show moments. This is stuff that never aired on MacBreak Weekly. It's stuff that happened on Twit Live before MacBreak Weekly began. I hope you enjoy it. Coming up. A musical interlude with Mr. Andy Renaud. So Frederick, they sent us, they said it was MacBreak.
I go cleaning windows to earn an honest bob. For Rosie Parker, it's an interesting job. Oh, it's a job that just suits me, a window cleaner. You would be if you could see what I can see when I'm cleaning windows. In my profession, I work hard, but I'll never stop. I'll climb the shrinking ladder till I make it to the top. The Russian blonde, she looks divine. The bridegroom, he is doing fine. I'd rather have his job than mine when I'm cleaning windows.
Hey!
As soon as I finish my burrito,
We need like a little MacBreak dude to like do some breakdancing.
I'll tweet. We are on a we're recording the show on a 5-minute burrito delay.
And people might read that the wrong way
because of FCC guidelines. 5-minute electronic burrito delay.
We're sorry for the time you spent on the tarmac this morning, but our pilot is eating a breakfast burrito. As soon as he's concluded his breakfast burrito, we'll be on our way.
We don't want to be taking off while we have a burrito in our hand.
5 minutes. So we should be able to get the show launched in about 10 minutes. We'll give you updates as new condiments develop.
That's very good. You must have spent some time flying, my friend.
In the meantime, your flight attendants will leave the cabin door open so that you can watch me eat.
Do we put bloopers in the Tony? If you're watching, let's save those and put them at the end. We haven't done bloopers in a while, and we used to do that all the time. In fact,
that was so much fun.
One of the reasons
that was like the best part of TWiTs.
Yeah,
was grabbing all the bloopers and editing them in.
I agree. And one of the reasons that we started late, we would always start a little late, is because I wanted to have a little blooper time at the beginning.
Right.
Now the truth comes out.
We still start late. We just don't keep the bloopers.
Well, we ought to be.
We ought to be. We ought to.
My God.
Save it for the Christmas show.
We need to create a library of craziness.
All right, I've got recorders going in every quadrant. Know what I haven't done yet. Andy and Otco, Alex Lindsay.
Evidently this right here.
I just heard my name.
People who are watching, evidently this, if a chimpanzee does this to you, it's a sign of aggression.
So do not pat it.
So don't play this video. Don't pat him if he looks at you and goes like this.
Oh, he's a cute little boy. Ow! My finger! My finger!
He's not excited. He's not interested. He's mad.
Okay, like, not that you didn't just like really. It wasn't a really subtle way to put that in the conversation. But I'm telling you, if there are rumors that you're injecting yourself with Botox, now that you're losing weight, I never believed those rumors. See, you don't have to prove to everybody else that you've got mobility in your forehead.
Yeah. Watch this. Wait. Here we go.
That's right. Last time I was on, you had somehow gone to some clinic in, I don't know where, some island. Somewhere.
Well, I just want to point out that Chris Breen's hair never moves.
I don't know.
I think it's actually... I've heard that Chris Breen's hair is actually ceramic.
It is. It moves as one
all of its pieces from Lenny's hair pieces. They don't come off.
I have that problem too. It's like
the Gatorade bucket, just nothing. It'll just sit there like a sculpture.
Too much spray. Hey, if I type Merlin off just by one key, it comes out as Nurcub.
Huh. That's pretty good. I thought you were going to say Merkin. Nurcub.
Nurcub. Let's try man off by one key. And do you want me to do Kung Fu Grip?
43 folders is fine.
Really? You haven't posted anything there lately?
Only 2 things yesterday, Leo.
Oh, Merlin, you're back.
It's just back. Suck it. No, don't actually suck it. I was kidding. That was just a remark.
I got 43 folders and a bitch ain't one.
Merlin's more of a cuddler.
That made me laugh.
I don't know what that means.
Yes.
Oh, that's Jay-Z.
I know what it is. I'm not that unsquare and hip.
How do you know Jay-Z?
I know Jay-Z. I love Jay-Z. I love rap. I'm more of an atmosphere kind of guy because I find their lyrics are more relevant to the urban issues that we all face these days.
Fresh.
He's lost contact with the street. Jay-Z
in Santa Cruz and Petaluma.
I'm in a New York state of mind.
My wife used to sit on a ball. She had that at work. She had a yoga ball she sat on, and she said it's good because it helps your core. That's a Pilates term.
I do
Pilates hours, but all day it gets a little sticky.
No, you're supposed to wear pants. You're really. I mean, I think that's one of the basic rules of this.
You're not going to use that ball anymore, are you?
It's called a moon landing.
Oh dear. I was wondering what those. Never mind. Okay. Wow.
This is good. Hey, aren't you glad to have me back? Really, just get that focus and
it's an antibacterial rubber on the ball. Thank God. Tom Merritt is at the Apple Store in Emeryville. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Leo, I don't know how long I'll be on because the security guard just came by and said there's no filming allowed out here. We had to put all our gear away. So if I get hauled off in the middle,
just tell him there's no film involved.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's streaming. There's actually no film.
I'm just
we
standing.
have no bags.
So tell us, what's the scene in Emeryville?
Right now we've got, I would guess, 250 people in the reserve line. Last time I checked, there were about 300 people waiting in line on the other side in the first come, first serve. I asked a couple of the Apple people how many units you got in there, and they all looked nervously and said, no idea.
Interesting.
So I haven't heard of them turning off the line. I've seen some reports from elsewhere where they've told people, okay, no more people in line after this. They're just letting people kind of build up over here.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the Apple stores actually have more handsets than we realized.
Now, there's an AT&T store down the way that is doing pickups for people who pre-order. There's absolutely no line down there. Cheers are beginning right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but I think they're finally starting to let some people in. So there you go.
It's interesting. Legacy Village in Cleveland, 750 reservations. Oh, he's being shut down. Okay,
I'm doing a live for This Week in Tech. So do you need me to shut it down as press?
Yes, I do.
You need to shut it down?
You have a card or anything?
Do you have your Detroit card on you?
Yeah, you can't fill my hand unless you're approved to fill my expired property. So you got to go through the property.
So just step across the street. Actually, Tom, it's okay.
Okay, well, thanks, Leo. We're going to take
Tom.
off now.
Yeah, I don't want you to lose
cheers.
your place in line.
All right.
Take care. Tom Merritt in Emeryville. The AT&T signal. Now, we've got 5 bars right now. If I hold it a certain way, Gary, and you said you noticed this.
I did.
How do I have to hold it to make that happen?
They say that if you hold it in your left hand with the left corner of the device in your palm, the left bottom corner.
Left bottom corner, okay. Look at that. Did you see that?
It bars will start jumping down. It takes a few seconds, but it does go down.
It went down one,
there
2.
There it goes again.
So I'm actually blocking the antenna with my hand, apparently. And if I take my hand off,
it goes back up.
It goes back up. So, gee, yeah, there it is. It's going back up.
Hey, Leo, we're here, and I'm sorry, your name?
I'm Ray.
Ray, and Ray's got his iPhone. Leo, I patched his phone number to you. We can try this coverage idea if you want to try it.
He has to be hooked up to the Wi-Fi in the Apple Store.
Is he hooked up to the Wi-Fi?
We're hooked up. Yep, we're hooked up to the Wi-Fi. Well, I sent you a phone.
I'm gonna hang up real quickly with our other caller, and we're gonna give him a call, and we're gonna see how much better FaceTime is than Skype on a laptop. How about that? You're FaceTiming. Now turn your camera sideways. Turn your phone sideways so we'll get the portrait mode. I mean landscape mode, yeah. Woo!
Awesome.
Look at that.
That is awesome.
Again, the frame rate a little slow. This is on MiFi, so it's interesting because this is on the same connection that we were using for our Skype connection. In fact, if I flip back and forth,
it looks better, doesn't it?
You can see that the contrast is a little better. I have to say that. This is just weird.
We got multicam.
Yeah.
We can do 3D.
Yeah, we figured this out. We can do 3 of these, and you could have like a little multicam thing, mobile on a bunch of iPhones.
Seriously?
We're broadcasting.
We're broadcasting live now. I can't talk. That's all you can do. Leo, thanks. Take it easy there.
What's your Twitter account, Ray?
Oh, crap. That's going to be... My Twitter account's complicated. Can I just type it in somewhere?
If you have to type it in, it's no good, dude.
Yeah. The other thing that I find really interesting is how stable it looks. I think there must be some stabilization going on here, either digital or it's probably some digital stabilization.
Oh, I think you're right.
Because there is no way that I'm holding it as still as I'm seeing it. Hey, Leo, I'm doing some testing here where I'm jiggling it. There is definitely stabilization going on in the camera.
Jiggling it.
Yeah, no, it's much better.
You look
it's
at this,
much better
it right now.
So on the left, folks, is Skype via Alex's laptop.
Right now, I'm bouncing literally up.
Oh, see, yeah, you're not. There's no bouncing. Yeah.
So, Alex, do you think that's because of the 6-axis features now?
The gyro? You think the gyro's doing that?
Look at it. You can see how much I'm moving it, and you can see what's happening in the screen.
Wow.
That's really good looking.
So that's what's really going to... I think a lot of us thought it was going to be this crazy shaky cam that wasn't going to work. And what they did is by adding that stabilization from those gyros, being able to reverse that, I think that what you're getting is a super smooth and crisp image.
So I can cancel the Steadicam Merlin that I ordered?
I know. I'm like, an owl on a, handheld is going to look like a Steadicam.
What we're going to do? We're going to have Tom Merritt FaceTime us. There we go. Look at that. Tom Merritt. Yeah. And let me turn it sideways so that you see the aspect ratio changes depending on how you're holding the phone. So he's holding the phone in portrait mode. If he changes to landscape.
And if I do that. And this is your iPhone.
Yeah!
Right here.
Sorry, I'm just going to try to stay calm here. My Nexus 1 is starting to rust.
They were very nice about it. They were very, very helpful. And the guy actually gave me a bag because he's like, I don't want security to give you a hard time because he didn't activate it.
Wow, that's awesome. So presumably I can connect that up and activate it to my existing iPhone number. Look at that.
Yeah, and yours was cheaper than mine.
It was?
Because I had to pay the activation fee. And and yours was just the straight, unsubsidized price.
Wow. Well, this is great, Tom. This is your first FaceTime call. What do you think?
It's pretty cool. Although I still don't see you.
That's because of where the camera is. I'll point it at me.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, you see, it's just the nature of this is that I
right. Because you're trying to you. There's Leo. I see you.
Yeah. But then
how's it look on your end? Your image is slightly blocky.
Yeah, no, we're getting quite a good image here.
It's not bad.
Is that Roger Chang behind you?
No, that's Tony.
Tony Wang, Roger Chang. I get confused sometimes.
One of I have a hard time keeping them straight myself.
Look at that.
But yeah, so this line here, I'm going to go walk along the line here. Hey, Tony, can you hold that?
Quality is
Tony's
really
holding
great.
like 700 bags, and I just gave him one more.
Look how good, listen to how good the sound is from.
I'm just going to walk along. This is the line of people who are waiting first come, first serve. And as you can see, it stretches indefinitely. I realized my audio got choppy because I walked away from the Apple store.
Yeah, you figured that out. Yes, exactly, Tom. Yeah. And the orientation keeps changing on me. I'm just going to leave it.
So I don't know if you could see that, but that's
just like an iPad, by the way. It's a 360-degree revolution, which is kind of
cool. Sorry. Yeah, as I was walking.
This is great, though. I have to say, really remarkable.
So yeah, this is cool. I'm liking the FaceTime. I'm.
Dr. Mom is telling me that she was told at the
I think I'm going to head out now and
just come here. Bring me my phone. Bring me my.
Yes, I'm going to jump in the car, put the siren on top.
Yes,
and race north to bring you your phone.
That's what
there you go. Test.
Yeah, now we got you.
All right. So. Hey, how you doing, Leo?
I'm great, Brian. Thank you for doing this on such short notice.
Oh, sure. You got it, man. What's funny is I was bummed because I couldn't connect to the hotel Wi-Fi with the iPhone 4. And I was like, well, I guess there's no way to make it work. And then all of a sudden it hit me that I'm sitting in front of a computer that's Skype enabled. So I just got my phone, and I knew that there were phones that had a yellowing or discoloration on it. There's a Gizmodo article where apparently they're keeping a log of everything, 45 units and counting, they said, where it's visible in the lower left-hand corner. And in order to see it, you need to, there we go. We'll see. I'm going to see if it's detectable on.
The camera's pretty yellow as it is, but let's see if we can see. Hold it up a little bit higher.
In that corner right there, when I drag it over, I don't know if it's showing up there or not.
We're not really seeing. Pull it back a little bit because it can't focus. It's so close.
There you go. But basically, it just looks like a yellowed discoloration. There are plenty of photos of it online. I mean, it's
yeah. We've seen it. We've seen it on Jason O'Grady's Power page, so I have seen it.
But I tell you, one of the things, if you want to see whether or not you have it, because it's completely undetectable from the home screen. Anytime there's a busy pattern on there, you're not going to be able to tell that there's any kind of discoloration because you don't know what the color should look like. If you go to some screen that's gray, it doesn't show up when it's all white. It doesn't show up when it's all black. But if you do a gray screen, you'll be able to really see if there's a banding on the side or a discoloration in the corner. It wasn't until I was halfway through installing TweetDeck that I noticed it.
Yeah.
And then it really popped out at me. And I thought about walking right back inside and asking for another unit. But number one, Apple has this delightful policy of not accepting walk-ups for their Genius service. And so I'd have to make some kind of, some kind of appointment. But my guess is that there's a decent chance that I'll just get back another unit that has the same problem. I mean, these are all brand new units then that have the discolorations on the screen. So my plan right now is to just use it for a week or so and then swap it out because it's covered under warranty. I'd imagine that I could come back anytime.
What MacRumors.com is saying now, my suspicion was this was the bonding agent that's laminating the glass to the LCD panel. We've seen they have an unusual way of doing that. And I was thinking perhaps the glue was slightly visible. And what MacRumors is saying is that there have been some forum posts at Apple Insider that say that it resolves itself as the bonding agent dries.
That's interesting.
So the Apple's using a bonding agent called organofunctional silane Z-6011.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Well, everybody who's used that bonding agent really well knows that
bonding agent has had a reputation ever since grade school, Leo.
Exactly.
Come on.
There
was trouble waiting to happen.
Ken Shepardson, you're telling us we stopped using that here.
Oh yeah, yes, absolutely.
Okay, for that reason. So it's a well-known evaporation issue, and it just takes a little extra time. So what it's really telling us is that they're shipping these things out as fast as they can make them.
Yeah.
So watch.
And my guess is that from a publicity and a PR standpoint, it may even be worth it for them to knowingly send out units of questionable, and I'm, keep in mind, this in no way do I know this or whatever, but when I put on my pretending I'm Apple hat, if I'm Apple, I'm moving these things as fast as I can, and we'll see, number one, who notices the discoloration, because it's perfectly functional. You have complete resolution, you have complete use of it, and it only shows up really when you have a perfectly gray slate background. So I'm getting them out as fast as I can, and I figure I'll just swap out the units when they come back, and then that'll be the source of all the refurbed parts for units down the road.
Right. Well, maybe when we do the teardown a little later with iPhone repair, we'll be able to see what's going on there. But I would say before you rush to get it back, because I know you want to use your iPhone 4, you might want to see if it fixes itself. Where are you right now? What town are you in?
I'm in Nashua, New Hampshire. I had a show this. In fact, I've been listening to the coverage all morning long, which is very meta. It's been very awesome to sit in the chat room listening to the Twit Live coverage while I'm in the chat room. And I had to take out my earplugs and stop listening to you because the person in the line next to me interrupted me like, excuse me. I'm like, yeah. Like, did anyone ever tell you that you were a dead ringer for Brian Brushwood?
You're a little thinner and better looking, but otherwise you could be Brian Brushwood. Yeah.
But and I think Nashua, New Hampshire is a very small town, and I'm in here for college, which, by the way, tomorrow I've got to get up at 6 a.m. and fly all the way out to San Francisco for the 5-year Revision 3 party tomorrow night.
Oh, that's going to be a massive party. I wish I could go to that. I'm at Foo Camp tomorrow night. I'm locked in a room. I know.
I was thinking it would be a great opportunity for round 2 of crowd surfing. Get you out there.
I would love to do that. Well, now the next stage is perhaps launched. We're talking right now with the Army's Golden Knights. Callie Lewis has arranged. It's not definite yet, but for a live streaming parachute jump in Dallas.
Like wearing the live view backpack and everything.
It's my sense that it will not work, but we're investigating. Let's put it that way.
Well, regardless, I mean, you'll take video of it. You'll take.
Oh yeah. There's lots of video, and I'll have a helmet cam and so forth. But what we really would like to do is stream it.
Yeah, dude. Well, I tell you what, the magician in me. What is happening?
Oh my God! You've crossed the beams. Oh my God!
All right, next story today. Just
That was weird. Sorry about that, boss.
Hey, Brian, go back to work. I know you and Chad are working on some amazing illusions for tonight's performance. Everybody should check out the Revision 3 launch or 5-year anniversary party, which is tomorrow night in San Francisco. Is it open to the public?
You know, it is open to the public, but it's 21 and over. Expect a long line if you show up in person, but we will be live streaming the entire event. In fact, I just confirmed that after my stage show, I'll be hosting the stream from, I think, 10 until 10:30.
Oh, that's exciting. So this is kind of, if you've never been to a live Dignation, this is really a bunch of fun. Highly recommended.
Well, you know, it's the closest any of us tech heads get to being totally punk rock. I mean, this is, like I said last time, that South by Southwest, that's our Woodstock moment where we're all together doing our geek thing.
Oh, yeah, very cool. I'm looking on Revision 3. I don't see anything about this live event, so I don't know if it's maybe gotten just too full.
Yeah, you know, it's if you follow the Revision 3 Twitter feed, I'm sure it'll show up, but you know, you're right. I actually don't know the location of it myself. All I know is that I got to make it to San Francisco in time and everything will be fine.
Revision 3, I'm told revision3.com, REVISION, the number 3.com / the number 5 YEAR will take you to the 5-year anniversary page.
Revision3.com / 5-year. Awesome.
There you go.
I'll see you guys there tomorrow then.
Hey, thanks a lot. Have a great time, Brian Brushwood.
And by the way, I got to give credit to Pretty Jumbles who just texted me, reminding me that while it is a yellow blotch on my screen, it is by far the highest resolution yellow blotch I've ever had the privilege to see on a screen.
Thanks, Brian Brushwood. Great to talk to you. And have a great show tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow in San Francisco. Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye. What are you looking at? Tom Merritt? Yes. Come here, my friend. Come here. I got to give you a big hug. I got something for you. Oh, you rock. Oh, baby, come to Papa.
Thank Pat at the Apple.
Thank you, Pat at the Apple Store. We won't use the last name on that one. No, thank you, Tom. And I guess we need to give Tom a check. No.
That's my
That's awesome. Well, and I have another one coming in 3 weeks, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll activate this one with the other phone number. We'll figure that out when the time comes. Let me see the back panel there. Yeah. So that's just glass.
Yeah, it's actually glass and kind of composite there.
And you know, they're doing this lamination. I mean, the glass has virtually no thickness.
Yeah,
it's very thin. Yeah, as you can see, but it's not so thin that it can't break. It can absolutely break. And then what else? Oh, look, that's interesting. It has a little twit logo. Where was that in the iPhone?
It's right here in the middle.
Tom, what are you doing?
I've got a little Slingbox app going.
Oh, let's see the Sling.
Doctor Who off the DVR.
That's awesome. Our friends at Sling. Thank you, Jay and David and all the gang over at Sling for supporting our live coverage of our iPhone 4 launch. I'll say it one more time. You can watch your favorite TV shows when you're away from home with a Slingbox, just like Tom's doing right now. You can do it on iPhones and the new one, too. iPod Touches with Wi-Fi, BlackBerry, of course, your Mac and Windows laptops, and now the new Android mobile. And everybody's saying this is an awesome version of the Sling application. Here's the deal. Here's how it works. You go to Best Buy, you purchase a Slingbox, you bring it home, you hook up your Slingbox to your TV. I moved my cable over. I just had the guy, he just finished moving everything over to where the Ethernet is because I want that Slingbox. I'm going to connect it up to the that's why I can't show you right now because I haven't connected it yet. Connect it up to the Slingbox HD, connect the Ethernet up there, and now, boom, anywhere I am, I can watch my TV, even from other rooms. I can't wait for the iPad app because basically this is a portable television. I can bring this anywhere.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man.
Find an in-store demo at a Best Buy near you. Just visit slingbox.com, and they'll tell you where to go. And we thank Slingbox for providing our live coverage of the iPhone 4 launch. Oh, a lot of fun covering that iPhone launch. That's something that we've started doing a lot of on Twit, and I hope to do a lot more of on Twit Live. If you only download the shows, you're missing out. At live.twit.tv, when there's breaking tech news, more and more we're going to try to be there and covering it, and especially product launches. Not only did we do the iPhone 4 launches you just saw, but we did the Windows Phone 7 launch. We did a number of Facebook announcements, a number of Google announcements, Google TV announcement, and that's been a lot of fun, and I expect to do a lot more of that. So
mostly what's happening is TWiTs, not just the podcasts, but there's also this TWiT Live component that's kind of, I'm thinking of it as the CNN of tech. So conferences are coming up. We're going to be doing CES just a week from now. Can that be possible? When does it start? June 7th? 5th. Our coverage of the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas. We're going to be down there en masse as we were this year. Also, South by Southwest is coming up in March. And I think, it's not certain yet, so I'm not going to say anything, but I think we've got another big conference we're going to be covering in February. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's another part of TWiT that we're very proud of. As we expand the network, we want to bring you more live coverage of major tech events like announcements and conferences. All right, we're going to come back in just a little bit. We've actually got another great moment from MacBreak Weekly, right? Oh, yeah, we're going to do the Macworld, visit to Macworld. Oh, that's right. This year when Macworld Expo went off in February, I took over from David Pogan, Macworld Live. So we're going to see a little bit of that, including Adam Savage from the Mythbusters. Before we get to that, though, I want to talk a little bit about Ford and the great Eileen's just sitting off camera going, "Go to the commercial. Go to the commercial." Talk about the great Ford Sync. If you've never driven a Ford with Ford Sync, you've got to try it. Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury vehicles. I got the 2010 Mustang. As you know, I'm a big Ford Sync fan. You get in the car, your music starts playing. I play it off of my Bluetooth phone. I've got the new Nexus S, the Android phone. But you know what's fun about the Ford Sync? There's the Nexus S. Is that you could, I don't know how many. I've got about a dozen phones now, including my son's phone, my wife's phone, my daughter's phone, all paired with the Ford Sync. And I could say which one is my preferred phone. But one can be the phone, one can be the audio source. I've even used my iPad. The Bluetooth on the iPad works great for an audio source. So you can listen to whatever's on your devices. Of course, it's also got a USB port, so you can connect your device via USB to the Ford Sync. And on iPods, it actually indexes it and puts it up on the screen, or lets you ask for the songs by name. So you could say, "Play AC/DC, Hell's Bells," and it'll play it. That's for you, Lisa. So... the AC/DC fan over there. So I'm just a big fan of Ford Sync. It also, of course, has turn-by-turn directions. Even if you don't get the GPS screen, the big package, it will walk you through your drive step by step. Even reroute you if there's traffic conditions along the route. You can get movie times. My favorite, I love when I'm doing a demo of Ford Sync, and I seem to do it almost every day. People get in the car and say, "All right, what's that?" And I say, "Well, watch this," and I can say, bing, I press you never take your eyes off the wheel or your eyes off the road or your hands off the wheel. You know, you're driving along. Bing, you press the button, and it says, I say fuel prices, and it finds the best fuel price nearby, and then it gives you directions there. I mean, I can go on and on. It is really a fantastic technology. Here's how you find out more. Either go to your local Ford, Lincoln, or Mercury dealer and say, "I want to test drive." They have this funny thing about you test driving vehicles. So say, pick a vehicle, but then you make sure it has Sync in it, and you test drive the Ford Sync. Or you go to syncmyridepodcast.com and you can try it out. By the way, before we go, I do want to mention the contest. It's almost over. December 31st is your last day. If you're watching this in 2011, I'm sorry you missed the boat. But if it's not the end of the year yet when you're watching this, you have to go to twitfordfocus.com. They're looking for it's a Facebook page, so you have to be a Facebook member and like the page. Then they're looking for 2-minute video about why, one, you should go to Madrid, Spain to be one of the first to test drive the 2012 Ford Focus. How about that? And then also, as if that weren't enough, they'll give $10,000 to the charity of your choice. So you have to say why, which charity, and why you want to give $10,000 to it. $500,000 in total Ford is giving away. I am really looking forward. We don't know the date yet of this test drive in Madrid, but I just got a direct message on Twitter from Scott Monty who said, "All right, Leo, all right, stop lobbying. You're going." Yes! So you'll join me and a bunch of other great people in Madrid at the Spanish National Testing Center to be one of the first. Isn't that great? So if you want to enter the contest, twitfordfocus.com. Make that 2-minute video. Read the instructions. You got to do it by December 31st, 2010. A tip of the... whatever this is, cap, I guess. a tip of the pom-pom to our good friends at Ford for being such great supporters of TWiT all year long. We look forward to a great 2011 with Ford and all of our sponsors, and of course, most importantly, with you. Let's get back to the best of MacBreak Weekly, and we're going to go right now to Macworld Live, and some great performances, including Mythbusters' Adam Savage. Let's watch. Our next guest is a new friend to me, but I know we've all watched him on TV, and he is a true and utter geek. You've seen him on Mythbusters. Let's give a warm welcome to Adam Savage, please. So nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Have a seat.
Hello.
It was so much fun backstage because there's just a bunch of geeks. Like all they had their phones out and they're talking about stuff.
The green room's where it's at.
The green room was hot and happening, let me tell you. So I'm such a big fan. Everybody's a big fan of yours.
Thank you.
How long has Mythbusters been on there? A long time.
7 years.
It's amazing.
180 hours of programming.
The thing that, yeah, pretty good. Now this is not your first exposure to TV though, because I looked on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Okay, you were Mr. Whipple's stock boy in a Charmin commercial, is that right?
Yeah. I told my dad when I was 15 that I wanted to be an actor, and a good friend of his was somebody he had hired for commercials way back in the 70s, Charlie Kimbrough, who ended up playing Jim Dine on Murphy Brown.
Oh yeah.
And Charlie got me my first agent, and my agent sent me out on a call, and I got my first audition, which was playing Mr. Whipple's stock boy in Charmin. I played
What a job.
Jimmy the stock boy.
Now we looked and we could not find a clip. I'm sure you have clips somewhere.
Oh, you know, it's out there. I think I just sent somebody to it the other day.
We did find this though. This is a Billy Joel. And look at the kid that's being saved by Billy Joel. Here he comes. That's him.
There you go. You know, starring role. I love Billy Joel.
And some
but
good acting, by the way. You looked like you were dying out there. I mean,
it was freezing cold. It's November in New York. I love Billy Joel, but that video is so bad that halfway through my showing it to my wife, she's like, "Are you in any more of this thing? Because I can't take it."
Can we stop now?
Yeah.
That's it. Right there. That's the starring role.
That was I did a bunch of commercials for a while. I actually went to NYU for a semester. I pretended to go to class in drama. I thought actually I was going to be an actor.
So how'd you get to be a model builder? How'd you get to that?
The acting, I had already been like going out for auditions for commercials for about 5 years by the time I was at NYU, and I got disillusioned and I got out of it. I was working in graphic design in New York. I ended up moving out to San Francisco, working in theater. The facility with building things led to special effects, and then weirdly the Mythbusters opportunity came up, and it was that's when the maker of things and the performer come back full circle.
Couldn't be better.
Yeah.
You guys work really hard on that show. I did not realize how hard. You shoot all the time.
We shoot 46 weeks a year.
It's unbelievable.
We don't have
for
an
how many
off-season.
episodes?
We turn out about 21 episodes a year.
So it takes you a couple of weeks. You know, actually, you can tell when you watch the show that you're really thinking about the stuff, designing the stuff, but building it. So you go in every day and you're doing that?
Yeah, if you see something built on the show, we built it. Unless you're watching someone else build it. We don't take credit for stuff that's not ours, so we really are still... About 2 years ago, we got someone to help clean up, but that was...
a big improvement, I'm sure.
we really do take pride that it's all of our handiwork, and you know, we've got our blood on all the tools.
Where do you get the ideas for what you want to test?
There's a never-ending stream.
There's a lot of myths.
I just came up with one the other day, which I couldn't believe, and this happens frequently. I can't believe I didn't think of this. Fat mirrors, skinny mirrors.
I have a mirror in my bathroom, and I wish it weren't such a good mirror because I look so good in that mirror, and I stand there and I go, boy, I look good today, and then I go out in the real world and it does not work.
Well, see, I'm a fan. I have the last mirror in my bedroom is this full-length mirror, and it makes me look fantastic, and I like that.
How can we get the world to look like that?
Well, so we want to find out, because I have this other mirror in my house, the downstairs bathroom mirror, which actually makes me look like a hobbit. And I make sure to avoid it if I'm looking for something something before I go out.
You shouldn't have that the last thing as you go out of the house.
So I figured that we'd go to a department store. We'd actually start measuring the flatness of the mirrors and seeing if there's some sort of
distortion,
consistent distortion, laterally, horizontally, diagonally. And then we'd do some experiments in the shop. And then I want to finish by setting up a hall of mirrors in Union Square and having people just go through and pick their favorites and see if there really is such a thing.
Yeah. So you try to do a scientific method in what you're doing.
That's actually, that's the main thing we try and do is the method.
Right.
We realize that our results are often bunk, but
at least
the methodology is sound.
Good.
If we had the time to do this 100 times, we feel the methodology would yield something.
So you told me that the one you're working on right now is this slip and slide video.
Yeah, you know the video.
We have it. We have it.
Oh,
Can we
okay,
show
let's
it?
take a look
show
at
that.
it.
This is a video that was a viral video. It was making the rounds of slip and slide, and I fell for it. I saw this and I thought, this is the most amazing thing ever. It's on YouTube. Here it is. This is the slip and slide video. It's a huge one, and they put water on it. Now it's not only so big, but look, there's a ramp. He's going to hit the ramp. He goes in the air, and look, in a little pool. And I watched that a dozen times, and I said, how could they be faking that?
It
is fake.
I won't spoil the surprise, but we're heading out to a location on Monday to reenact this.
Who's doing the slip?
Well, me, of course.
You're kidding.
Jamie, we're both setting up to do it. We both have surfer wetsuits. We're going to wear latex jumpsuits on top. We sent our PA to Mr. S. Leathers today to get them. We've got this.
That might be fun to keep around afterwards.
We actually have figured out that our old ones are all used up. The thing is looking at this video it's not about the distance that he flies or the speed that he's going. Really, it's about the accuracy.
He hits that
tiny little target. So that's what we'll be really looking at. And there might be a certain point at which we no longer feel comfortable. Our friend Nick Plachet, who's our safety guy and a Hollywood stunt coordinator, will be with us. We're going to ramp up to it. But really, all next week, we're going to be flying through the air.
I mean, it's a great job, but it's also crazy. You got to be nuts. You use Macs?
Yes.
Okay, good. I should have checked before I invited you. What was your first Mac?
I was just telling. So the other night I hosted EFF's 20th anniversary.
By the way, thank you for doing that. Really great. Really great.
I'm backstage talking to John Perry Barlow and Mitch Kapor, which was like totally intense.
Yeah.
And I told them, I figured I'd drop some street cred, and I said, dudes, I read Hacker Crackdown on my PowerBook 170.
Yeah.
And they both were like, nice, young Jedi. My first Mac was a PowerBook 170. I bought with a sculpture that I sold at Catherine Clark's gallery in Hayes Valley.
That's cool. Was that the one with the built-in trackball?
Yes.
It had a little ball?
Yes.
It was gray? Yeah, little kind of...
Little tiny, but it was the active matrix screen. Remember
it was color, anyway, yeah.
Then I upgraded that to a Blackbird, to the 520, 520C.
Do you use Macs in production? I mean,
we're
for script writing?
We're solely a Mac shop.
That's great.
I mean, there's a few PCs around. A lot of the scientific monitoring software we use only works on PCs, but now several of us are dual booting in order to manage that.
If you decide you want to put a computer down the slip and slide, you can use the PCs. Please don't use the Macs. It'd be too painful. So you just going to keep doing Mythbusters for the rest of your life?
Until they lock the doors.
It's an awfully great job. I mean, it must be.
Amazingly, the success was totally surprising of the show. We never set out to make something that was educational. If we had tried, we would have failed. We really are just following our nose as we go.
That was the motto of Seinfeld: no teaching, no hugging.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and you stay true to what the formula is, which is me and Jamie like dogs with a rope battling back and forth. But for the last 6 months, we've been the highest rated show on Discovery, and 7 years in, that's unheard of.
Rightly so. Rightly so.
The show is doing great. We have more of a sense of ownership over the material than ever before. We have this great brain trust in the middle of me and Jamie and our director, Alice, and our executive producer, Dan Tapster. And that creative bond between the four of us is really, really satisfying for all of us. And we argue all the time.
That's really unusual in mainstream media that you get that kind of... Does Discovery never say, let's not do that one?
because we've done so many tasteless things in relatively tasteful ways, they give us a fairly free rein. There's not the stuff that they get upset about are things that they think are going to be boring. I've been pitching a audiophile episode forever. I want to do high-end speaker cable against lamp cord.
Yes.
I want to prove that you
Wouldn't
don't have
that
to
be
spend
great?
$50 on a goddamn HDMI cable.
Yeah, I get them at mono price for $3, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The green around the CDs.
Right.
Remember that? I wanted, and I actually concocted. I thought this was a great finale. They not only record versus CD, but versus MP3 at different compression rates, and also in your car, in your house, and in his concert hall, because all three of those are going to yield different results. They're all going to yield different levels of satisfaction to different people. And
I had my eyes opened. I was walking in San Francisco by Dolby Labs one day, and a guy kind of said, "Hey, Leo, come here." And he pulled me, I'm not kidding, he pulled me into Dolby Labs. Never met this guy in my life. He said, "I want to play you something." And they have an anechoic chamber, a perfect sound studio in there with Rebel speakers, very high-end, you know, $100,000 speakers. And he said, "Okay, listen to this. One of these is an MP3 and one of these is the CD." And I could not tell the difference. Could not tell. Do you agree, Roger? I mean, you record your stuff as MP3s.
Artifacts in a MP3.
You can hear.
Yeah, I can hear some stuff. It's not as good as CD quality. I know when I record the stuff for the Folk Den, I do it at 48 kilohertz, 24-bit, and when it comes out as an MP3, it doesn't have the presence or the. You know, it's not as clear.
I saw a study that said that real music has an that the overtones in the real music have an emotional component that is stripped out. See, I don't know how you'd measure that. Right? Somebody crying when they
measure. Every time I see these like $25,000 turntables, or the
with sand bags and
they're inventing some new way to describe gold coating. You know,
there's a lot of hype in the audio
coating,
business.
Done in a vacuum with virgins.
And unicorn tears. You always have to have the unicorn tears. It's so great to meet you, Adam, and thank you for your great success. Thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Actually, let's quickly do a quick recap of the latest. It started, of course, a couple of weeks ago when Engadget first showed pictures, and then Gizmodo claimed to have possession of the 4th generation iPhone, the provenance of which is somewhat cloudy, but Gizmodo says it was lost by an Apple engineer at a Hofbrau. He was drinking during his birthday. Someone found it, looked for the owner, couldn't find him, so then offered it in sequence to Engadget and Gizmodo. Gizmodo's Nick Denton from Gawker says he paid $5,000 for the phone. Jason Chen did a number of stories on it, including pictures, took it apart. Apple wrote a letter saying, we want it back. Gizmodo apparently gave it back. Then the newest news, Friday, detectives from React, which is a high-tech law enforcement team that is composed of a number of different agencies in the Silicon Valley, about 8:30 at night, raided Jason Chen's home. Jason and his wife came home to find law enforcement in there. They said they'd been there for a couple of hours. He showed him a letter that Gawker's COO and chief counsel had given him, saying that he was covered by the SHIELD laws. The detective confiscated that, along with 4 computers, his business cards, not sure why his business cards, his iPad, a lot of material from his house they've taken off with material. Gawker says, it says we're protected by SHIELD laws. Big debate, of course, on the internet when this news came out. By the way, it didn't come out till Monday. Over whether, a crime was committed by Gizmodo. The detectives say, from the San Mateo Police Force, say that they are not investigating, or they are not accusing Jason or Gizmodo of any criminal act. They're investigating. All they're doing is investigating. Are those the facts, Denise, pretty much?
Yeah, pretty good there, Leo.
Did my best.
The React Rapid Enforcement Allied Computer Team, I almost expect Kip from Knight Rider to be pulling up to Jason's house.
No kidding.
With these guys. One little detail that I think is kind of an interesting and important one is I don't think the letter that you're referring to that Gizmodo published on its blog, their response to the search warrant, was after the fact.
He had an email from...
Right. Which I think is really interesting because somehow Gawker had notice that this was going down. You know, when do the police ever give you notice that they're going to search your home with a criminal search warrant?
Does it seem unusually proactive? I mean, if I were the chief counsel, I might, knowing that the SHIELD laws are... By the way, the SHIELD laws say, do they not, that you should have a written letter saying I'm protected by the SHIELD laws in your possession?
I don't think that matters.
I actually don't know that off the top
I read that I was looking at the codes, and I think it's the California code, and I believe it said something to the effect of, upon written notice, they're supposed to withdraw.
There's something we need to parse here, though, because the SHIELD law is getting confused here.
There's two laws.
Right. The other law is the law that governs issuing a search warrant for whatever it may be in your home. And that's the one that's actually at issue here. There is an exception to that law that says that if you're going to go after a warrant, it cannot be under the circumstances and it cannot be for the items specified in the SHIELD law. So the SHIELD law is brought in indirectly. The SHIELD law comes up in the Valerie Plame, Judith Miller kind of circumstance, right?
So that's the case where Judith Miller, New York Times journalist, knew the identity of Valerie Plame, or actually had revealed the identity of Valerie Plame.
Right, covert CIA agent.
Refusing to reveal her sources and went to prison for that.
Right. She was held in contempt for not revealing her sources, and that's typically what happens, and that's what SHIELD laws are supposed to guard against. So they're part of the evidence code. They govern what evidence can come in at trial. What we're talking now about is part of the penal code that governs when a search warrant can issue. And I don't see any exception to this part of the penal code that says, oh, if you're investigating a crime involving the journalist, then it's okay to go ahead and issue the warrant anyway.
That's where the debate comes down. There's look at a judge. We didn't see the affidavit that prompted the warrant, but a judge did issue the warrant. It was a search warrant that was being executed. Presumably, the judge knows the law, and so there's two possible reasons the judge might have issued that warrant. One, because she didn't feel that Jason Chen was a journalist, or that his place of residence wasn't a journalistic place of business. Right? That would be one exception.
Mm-hmm.
The other would be there are some limited criminal activities that can be going on there.
Well, but my area of confusion is that, I mean, I'm a journalist, but if I steal a car, that doesn't mean that they can't enter my residence and find out how I stole that car.
Well, what about that, Denise? Is that the case? By the way, let's assume you're in California, Andy, because the laws are different in every state.
I'm sorry, just to qualify, every time I look at the papers that have been filed and the arguments about it, they're about the idea of a journalist's right not to divulge a source for a news story. My area of confusion is that it seems to me as though this is possible. They're not trying to get him to give up his source, but they're trying to figure out where you paid $5,000 for property that may or may not have been stolen. We want to basically investigate you on the transfer of that stolen property. So that's where I'm confused.
Also, he's not.
Wait, hold on. I want the attorney to answer.
Sure. So you're absolutely right that what they're engaged in is a criminal investigation here. They're not engaged in trying to make Jason or anybody else divulge their sources in court, which is what the SHIELD law applies to. But the question then becomes, well, how can you go about that criminal investigation? Well, you can issue search warrants, or can you? Because here there is an exception that specifically says if what you're going after with your warrant is the materials used by a journalist in connection with their story, then forget about it. You can't get that warrant.
The reason is it's an umbrella protection because if you do, as the police did, confiscate everything, other sources can be revealed, right? So this is a very overreaching. These SHIELD laws are very broad, but it's to protect. In other words, it doesn't mean he can't be prosecuted. It doesn't mean there's not a way to do this, but it has to be done in a specific way because he's a working journalist. Is that correct, Denise?
Yeah, that pretty much captures it. There are different criminal charges that they are investigating. There in California, we have criminal consequences for misappropriating trade secrets, which I haven't seen a whole lot of people discuss yet in connection with this case and what liability might attach to Gizmodo/Gawker under that provision. I have seen a lot of discussion about receiving stolen goods and how that might be something that they're being investigated for.
But does that change the fact that their ability to do a broad search and seizure?
Does it change the fact?
That seems
the fact that
they could do this, execute this kind of search warrant. It seems to me that that's prohibited by the SHIELD law, except for the federal law allows it in child pornography and terrorism.
I don't think even Gizmodo went that far here.
Right. That's my question, and I have the couple of things that I worry about. One is that the judge decided, oh, they're online, they're not a journalist. And there's California case law that says that's not the case. In fact, it was an Apple case, which you wrote about in your Bag and Baggage blog.
Right.
And then, or that there's the other thing that maybe they're somehow let off the hook because it's a criminal investigation.
Right.
The
and
EFF does not believe that's the case. The EFF wrote and Wired republished this opinion that Jennifer Granick said it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I put out on Twitter last night, if anybody, any criminal lawyers out there who are looking at this know of any exception to this provision that says you can't get a warrant, let us know. Let's start talking about that. And I haven't gotten any answers back about that. The most I've seen on this is some arguments that were asserted by Apple in the case you just mentioned, Leo, which was against Jason O'Grady and some other online journalists concerning the asteroid device.
Right.
And there was a leak about that. Apple contended that there was criminal conduct there for violation of trade secrets and got the trial court to buy into that. So the trial court refused to grant a protective order under the SHIELD law there on this theory that, okay, well, the SHIELD law wouldn't apply if there are criminal acts going on. But I haven't delved into Apple's briefing there. It's all there on the EFF site if anyone is inclined to do that and see what arguments they made, if they actually have authority to back that up. I haven't seen that authority yet in this discussion, and I would like to. Until I do, as I read the statutes, I don't see any exception. I see that if you're going to get a warrant, you need to comply with the warrant provision, and these things are carved out of it.
So I mean, I think that's okay. So that's the legal, and apparently, according to TechCrunch, the San Mateo DA or detectives have are pausing. That's the word that was used in their investigation to see if they in fact have the right to this evidence. Would it jeopardize the case if in fact that was an illegal warrant? I mean, would that
jeopardize the criminal investigation?
If they decided to do a criminal investigation, wouldn't that throw everything out?
If you obtain evidence using an illegal warrant, that evidence can't be used.
So they're saying we're not going to look. Oh, we're not going to look at anything. We're going to pause the investigation. We're going to put this aside. This is what TechCrunch says. We're going to put it aside. That they said we're going to put it aside, but we're going to take our time. It may take a few days. If I were Jason, I'd be a little upset. Okay, so
go ahead.
So I just wanted to get that kind of legal groundwork out of the way because there's been a lot of discussion on the web about whether it's different because it committed a crime or whether he committed a crime and all that stuff. And that seems to be really moot.
They haven't even been charged with anything.
Nobody's charged with anything. It's just an investigation. So, John, go ahead.
Well, I think there's two possibilities. There's the possibility, to start off with, what are they investigating? I mean, clearly they are investigating what they think may be a felony, right? I mean, that's
it says felony on the search warrant.
Right. I mean, they don't break into people's houses, just goofing around.
Just because somebody lost a phone wouldn't be any reason to break into somebody's house.
Right. So possibility A is that the felony that they're investigating is specifically and only about the guy or guys who found the phone and gave it over to Gizmodo. That's who they're investigating for a felony. And if that's the case, then I think clearly, what they did to Jason Chen was absolutely, it was both wrong and almost certainly illegal. You can't. That's exactly what SHIELD laws are about. You can't issue a warrant against a journalist while investigating a crime like that. But I think the other possibility is that the felony they're talking about is the purchase of stolen property. That is, that Jason Chen is the target or suspect or whatever you want to say of the investigation, and Gawker Media, his employer. And in that case, I don't think that the shield laws are going to be much help. Now, it is interesting, exactly as Denise pointed out. I do think that the letter of the California law, that the actual plain reading of it, does seem to suggest that they, you could read it and say they can't issue a warrant against a journalist, period. Even if the journalist, no matter what they think, even if the journalist himself is the target of the investigation, that, as far as I can tell, and I've done a little bit of research and I've seen some posts from actual lawyers and a law professor somewhere, who looked at it, that doesn't seem to have been tested in case law, that provision. It doesn't seem like that's actually, that there's any case law deciding what that means.
It looked like the law said you need to, instead of search warrant, issue a subpoena so that there can be an argument about just what is appropriate in this investigation and what is protected so that other sources aren't revealed in kind of a fishing expedition.
But I think I would be very, very surprised if a judge were to rule that this shield law means that a working journalist cannot have a warrant issued against them no matter what they themselves are accused of doing.
I don't know. It seems reasonable to me. It provides a way to investigate that is protecting the journalist's sources.
Well, the thing is that we're saying that we're protecting their sources, but we have to remember they already divulged the source. I mean,
well, but the law is, you can't apply the law. I mean, I guess you can apply the law selectively, but a judge can. But it seems to me if you're going to have a shield law, it's going to protect them whether or not you believe they've revealed everything, or that there's nothing to hide here. We don't know what other sources are there. We don't know what other stories Jason was covering. All of those things are protected. The point of this is you have to bend over backwards to have a free press. And what happens, the chilling effect is if a law enforcement could say, oh no, Leo, we think you stole a car, so we're going to come in and take all your stuff because they don't like something else I said. That's where you kind of that's why these laws exist, is it not? I mean, isn't that the point, Denise?
Yeah, but what if they have really good probable cause that you actually stole a car?
I don't know. Does that change it? In your reading,
I don't think I think it does,
but
I don't think it's ever been tested.
We're not talking about that. How does stealing a car have anything to do with doing journalism?
Well, right. So why would they steal my computer? So maybe stealing a car is a bad thing. Let's say I'm engaged in blackmail, and I'm a working journalist, and they're investigating the blackmail, but they take all my stuff. And in the process of taking the stuff, they happen to find material about sources that they were curious about in a Valerie Plame-like case. Mm-hmm. I think that's my sense of what these laws are about. Go ahead, Andy.
I'm sorry. All I was going to say is to the issue of stealing a car. If I'm an auto journalist, I can find a source who has access to the new Pontiac whatever and give me information about it. I can't bust into like a test track, steal it,
right.
take it apart in my garage. And then write about it and expect that, well, I returned the car, and so everything should be cool.
And nobody's saying they shouldn't be prosecuted criminally if a crime was committed. That's not what's going on here.
All I'll say, I mean, I've been very silent because I know nothing about the law, and I should make sure. And that's the sort of thing where professionally I consult people who can advise me about the law.
That's why we got Denise on.
And also, right, exactly. That's really the only thing that I'm still fascinated about. That there seems to be two different areas to this case: the area in which they might have had property that did not belong to them, and then so that by one reading of the law that might be stolen property, and then the area in which they took what might be construed as a trade secret and published it. So that's why I'm in. You can tell me I'm listening closely because I'm like, when you cut to me accidentally, I'm like looking like this because
well, I agree. And this is why people get into the law, by the way. This is a fascinating intellectual question. Yeah. You can upgrade the 11-inch for a little more money to 1.6 gigahertz, but it's still a fairly slow processor. Is that too slow?
I'm sure it's going to be fast enough. The big deal is that it has the same accelerated NVIDIA graphics chip as the regular MacBook. So in terms of the things that people will really notice speed for, playback of video and the video that's embedded into web pages, I don't think they'll notice any sort of a difference. And the people who are more interested in high-performance stuff like aperture editing, iMovie editing, they're probably going to be thrown by the amount of storage anyway. So I don't think that's going to be a real factor for them.
Looks like Becky's trying to go over and talk to Steve Jobs. Let's listen in and see what's going on as Becky and approaches Steve Jobs here.
We like it, Steve.
Steve's making the rounds, talking to the people.
This is, by the way, a first for us, a FaceTime call to the Apple campus.
I do have FaceTime working on the desktop, by the way.
You know, I do think that there's a question of whether the MacBook makes sense.
Hold on.
She's
talking to Steve.
Say that again?
They're wonderful machines. I've been using one and they're great.
You like it a lot?
A lot.
It fits in the bag and you take it with you everywhere?
You don't even need a bag. They're 2.3, 2.9 pounds.
Can I ask you one other question? Does the fact that we now have FaceTime just on the Mac mean we won't see APIs for other video conferencing?
We didn't say any such thing.
Okay, just checking.
There you go. I think that's a first on Twit Live, an actual conversation with Steve Jobs. Well done, Becky Worley. That's pretty exciting. Thank you, Becky, for getting that. That's amazing. Well done. Oh, I hope I didn't lose her here. The iPhone has failed me just in the nick of time. Let's see if we can get her back. There she is. There she is.
All from?
Somebody else is calling. I hate you, whoever you are. You lose. So there you go. You still heard Steve Jobs deny that that the fact that FaceTime Desktop is now available on the desktop. There's Becky. Sorry about that, Becky. Let me start the FaceTime up again, and we can talk to you. Nice scoop getting Steve Jobs, and I'm glad you asked him about FaceTime, open FaceTime.
Yeah, that was the one thing that really struck me was the FaceTime issue. And maybe it's just my own personal bugaboo because I really want to FaceTime with my kids when I'm on the road and they just have a computer at home. But I thought that we'd heard that those APIs would open up later. I mean, that was what I kind of thought might come down after we heard about it just being for Mac. But there was no announcement, and as Steve said, Nez said no such thing, and I don't know if we'll ever see those or if this is just a great branding opportunity for them to keep FaceTime to Mac exclusive and proprietary. That certainly is an incentive for iPhone users to think about their next computer purchase being a Mac. But he seems really happy with the MacBook Airs, and I would say we have definitely scooped something by doing the first interview via FaceTime.
First
Certainly
FaceTime interview. That's awesome. Well done, Becky Worley. We'll see you back here in just a little bit. People keep calling me. Thank you, Becky Worley. Really appreciate it. Well done. Isn't that great? I'm pretty sure, not only, I know that's the first time we've interviewed Steve Jobs on Twit, and probably the last, but I'm pretty sure that's the first time I ever saw a FaceTime interview anywhere. And kudos to Becky Worley for scoring that one. She really is a great reporter. Well, I hope, by the way, nothing in this, I don't smoke, kids, but this is full of vodka, so it kind of works. No, it's not. It's chai tea. No Jaeger for me. I learned my lesson after that holiday. Did you see? I should plug the holiday special. If you did not see the holiday special, John Hodgman, Jonathan Colton, Paul and Storm, 3 full fifths of Jägermeister, and a couple of Four Locos. It was just madness. Now, there was actually, the funny thing is, I don't think there was any actual drinking going on, but we might as well have been. It was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen our Twit holiday special, is that on a specials feed? Is it on the specials feed? No, it's on the Twit feed. Yeah, so just if you subscribe to Twit, you'll get it. Hey, thanks everybody for a great 2010 with MacBreak Weekly. Gosh, I love doing this show. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks to Andy Anako, Alex Lindsay, and all of our regulars. We have so many great MacBreak Weekly panelists. I look forward to another great year in 2011 of Mac news and mirth and merriment as well, and rat holes, lots of rat holes. Have a great holiday season. Here's to 2011. We'll see you next time on MacBreak Weekly. Now get back to your eggnog. Break time's over.